Good evening. It is November 1st, Monday evening, and we're going to discuss the weather map here for areas, especially areas east of the Rockies, for the Midwest, the southern states, and for the East Coast, including the Northeast. There's a lot of action that's going on, or a lot of action that did go on. Last week, we saw a nor'easter develop, almost like two of them, but we had a nor'easter in the beginning of the week. That nor'easter, the New York Times said at the end of last week, it's going to go on into the Atlantic Ocean and possibly become a named storm, a named subtropical storm. And it actually did. It has the name Wanda. Unbelievable. The system is subtropical storm system of Wanda. I wasn't even aware that they named subtropical storms, but apparently as of 2002, they started to name subtropical storms. A major question on this is, what about those North Pacific bombs? Why are they not being named? Those are certainly deserving of being named. Those things are much stronger than anything we'll find in the Atlantic. And we have the barometric pressure as of this morning of subtropical Wanda was 29.2, a nor'easter strength. The North Pacific stuff is generally, a lot of times from what I've seen, barometric pressure is under 29.0. We have an Arctic cold front. I want to speak about that Arctic cold front for just a moment. It is an interesting air mass over here. The National Weather Service in St. Louis, Missouri, has defined this as an Arctic cold front because the air is coming from the Arctic, pretty close to the North Pole, but not exactly. And there are reasons for why the air is coming from so far north. But AccuWeather meteorologists are saying this is not an Arctic cold front. But I think really perhaps the difference is it just doesn't have an Arctic feel to it. It doesn't have that Arctic air. It's not really cold. Temperatures for many cities here in the Midwest are going to be in the 40s during the day and the 30s at night. And that's just not an Arctic front. However, nonetheless, we do have some places which got a snowfall out of this. Several inches of snow for places in Nebraska, especially 100 miles west of Lincoln, Nebraska. There were some cities in Cheyenne, Wyoming as well that saw a few inches of snow. In fact, some places got up to 5.8 inches of snow. Something about that between 5. It was under 6 inches, but more than 5 inches in the Nebraska area. Those places, it certainly does feel like winter, and because of the snow-covered grounds, afternoon highs will likely remain in the 30s, but that's only for them. Even in Minnesota, southern Minnesota, we're going to see highs in the 40s. Now, here's what's going to be happening over the next couple of days. We have this front, which has cold air, of course. It's going to sink down. It's already probably south of Dallas, and it's Monday night, but it's going to stall out. And this low pressure trough has a positive tilt. And what that means is that the circulation is really going to go from the southwest to the northeast. The way I picture it is something similar to a specific Arctic air mass that I remember in 1996. I have no idea why I'm going back to that air mass. It was actually probably 1997. Where bitterly cold temperatures came into Chicago on southwest winds. So we have a cold air mass that dropped out of the Arctic into this country, but then the trough is tilted positive, so it's tilted to the northeast. So the air is going to be moving from the southwest to the northeast. That's going to warm things up a little bit, and it's probably going to stall this front as well. So we have a stalling front. We also have warm and humid air coming from the Gulf of Mexico. Now, let's say there was no such thing as computer models, because I don't know if the models are handling this thing so well. So let's just make a forecast right here. We have cold air, not very cold air. We have temperatures in the 40s colliding with air, which actually high temperatures are in the 80s in these places, 80s, and going to Houston and certainly places south of that. We have warm and humid conditions. So we have those two air masses colliding. So there's a pretty good chance that a storm is going to develop. You can't trust a situation like that to come out dry. That's just really weird. That would be really weird. This is right next to the Gulf of Mexico. The winds are coming off of the Gulf of Mexico. The water is really warm. We have extra humidity around because it's the season of fall. More humidity now around than it would be in the winter months. And we have this cold air, and right along the boundary is an ideal place where a storm will and could develop. So it's safe to say that a storm will develop. It's safe to say. Now, where is that going to happen? The front is stalling. It's probably going to happen in the Texas area, pretty far down south. It's going to develop over there. How strong is it going to be? Well, that's when you need those computer models. You need the computer models to tell you, I guess, that there is cold air going down there, and that the air is colliding. You could figure out that there's going to be a storm on your own, and then the strength of the storm, that's something that we might have to rely on those computer models for. So the fact that there's going to be a storm, a low pressure system, I don't even think we need to rely upon the computer models, assuming we could rely upon them for the other things. So let's just say there's going to be a storm system that develops there. Tonight's Monday night. We have the cold air there already. We have the warm air there already. So how quickly will it take before a storm develops? I don't see any reason to postpone it. Let's just say that a system will be developing right away. Okay, we have computer models which indicate that the storm system will be developing, I believe it's Wednesday night into Thursday, and then moving on to the East Coast Thursday night into Friday. I believe that's the system. But I would think already tonight or tomorrow night, tomorrow would be a good day for a storm system to develop, and I think we're going to see some cold rain on the north side of the system. The question is, will we see snow? So let's pretend like there was no such thing as computer models, and let's just see, what does it feel like? What does it feel? So we have this place in Nebraska. They got several inches of snow, even areas that got over 5 inches of snow. We go down into Texas Panhandle. The temperatures are going to be just about as cold over there. I think they are going to see snow. I think Amarillo, Texas is going to see snow. I don't know how much. I really don't know how much, but I think there will be some snow over there. That's just, that's just that happens. Will it accumulate? I think there will be some accumulation somewhere around Amarillo, Texas. Maybe just an inch. I don't know. But that's what I think. Now, we go into the computer models. So I don't know what to say about that. I think maybe it's mostly rain, something like that. But there's going to be periods of rain, because I would think there's probably going to be more than one storm that develops. So as far as I know, I don't know if there is any low pressure system that's forecasted to develop tonight. I'm not sure about that, but I think something will develop tonight, and tomorrow night there probably is something that's forecasted to develop according to the computer models. I think there will be something that will develop tomorrow night. And then a Wednesday night, that one, I think we need the computer models for that. I don't know why a storm would develop Wednesday night, but I think they say that a storm will be developing Wednesday night and then slowly moving to the East Coast for Thursday night. Now, in terms of whether the snowfall, will there be snowfall from this storm system? So there's two possibilities. Either you have the northern stream and the southern stream energy, they collide, and you get heavy snow, and the snow moves up the coast. It takes like a south to north storm track. And in that type of a scenario, you might be able to get snow. You might be able to get significant snow in the backside of the storm system. The second scenario, which is the scenario that the forecasters are taking right now, is that this storm is going to just go a little bit quickly, not really that strong, and just move out to the Atlantic Ocean. So, I guess that seems to be what's going to be happening. That's the forecast. The forecast is this low pressure system is going to move out into the Atlantic Ocean. Lots of rain, probably even heavy rain, because we have warm water, tons of warm water feeding into the system, and we have the contrast in temperatures. So we certainly have the recipe, the ingredients necessary for a significant storm system, and we just don't have enough cold air. Seemingly, we don't have enough cold air for it to be snow. Now, we don't have enough cold air. You know, the three ingredients necessary for a major winter storm is a solid Arctic air mass, deep low pressure, and copious amounts of Gulf moisture. Now, do we have that here? Yes, we do. We have an Arctic air mass, a solid Arctic air mass coming from the north. We have deep low pressure that at some point this week is going to form over Texas. At some point there's going to be a significant storm there. There's probably going to be several impulses of low pressure, but probably one of them, at least one of them, is going to be significant. And we certainly have the Gulf moisture, and it's developing. How could you not? It's impossible to get rid of it. It's right there on the Gulf. So what we have to deal with is the fact that the Arctic air mass this time of the year, there are those who are not even calling it an Arctic air mass. I don't know if that's true. If does that mean it's not coming from the Arctic? I don't know. Is it a weak air mass? I don't know. I think it is a strong Arctic air mass. I think just this time of the year, the air is not cold enough for the precipitation to fall as snow. So we have the three ingredients, yet the forecasters are saying it is not going to happen. When these three ingredients come together, you could safely assume, generally speaking, that there will be a 6-inch snowfall. Those are the rules. That's the rule. Do we have that here? We need to figure out, is this an Arctic air mass or not? And then we'll be able to make a forecast for these places. We'll be able to make such a forecast. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be able to make such a forecast. Meanwhile, we have the subtropical system, which we probably spoke about by now. We have a possibility of another low pressure system developing over the weekend. But warmer air, but I'm not sure if that's still a possibility, because at this point it looks like warmer air will be returning into the area. And we'll have to see what goes on.